Kevin Blake gripped the armrests of his captain's chair as the USS Horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Stars shifted back into their normal patterns through the main view screen. After 18 months of traveling to the Tau Ceti system, they had finally arrived. "Captain, we're detecting ships approaching our position," said Ryan Miller from his station at the science console. "3 vessels, unknown design, but their technology appears more advanced than ours." Kevin nodded and straightened his uniform. "Open a communication channel, Lieutenant." The forward screen flickered and filled with the image of an alien face. The creature stood nearly 8 feet tall with silver skin that gleamed under their ship's lighting. Its forearms moved gracefully as it adjusted what appeared to be a translation device. "I am Ambassador Zethvar of the Catherian Empire," the alien spoke, its words coming through clearly after a brief electronic hum. "Welcome to Tau Ceti space. You must be the humans we have heard whispers about." "Captain Kevin Blake of the United Earth Vessel Horizon. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." Zethvar nodded, all 4 of its arms folded in what seemed to be a gesture of respect. "Excellent. I shall board your vessel and we will discuss a formal meeting between our peoples." 20 minutes later, Zethvar stood in the Horizon's conference room. His silver head barely cleared the doorway. His 3 companions, all equally tall Catherians, took seats around the large table. The humans, including Kevin, Ryan, and Dr. Frank Carter, their chief medical officer, sat opposite them. "Tell us about yourselves," Zethvar requested, activating a small device that projected holographic images. "The Catherian Empire spans 412 star systems. We have existed as a unified civilization for over 50,000 of your Earth years." Kevin cleared his throat. "Humanity has existed for about 300,000 years, though we only achieved spaceflight in the last 60 years. We've just begun exploring beyond our solar system. Interesting development speed," one of Zethvar's companions noted. "How do you maintain continuity in leadership and scientific research?" Frank Carter spoke up. "Our government systems vary, but most nations elect leaders for set terms. Scientists and researchers typically work for 30 to 40 years before retiring." "And how long do you serve in your positions?" another Catherian asked, genuine curiosity in his tone. "Military service varies, but I've been captain for 5 years now," Kevin replied. "Most humans retire from active duty by age 60 or so." The Catherians exchanged glances, their translator devices chirping as they spoke among themselves in their own language. Ryan Miller shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Something about the Catherians' body language suggested amusement, though their faces remained neutral. "Forgive my next question, but it seems relevant." Zethvar leaned forward. "What is the typical lifespan of a human?" "We average about 80 Earth years," Frank answered. "With medical advances, some live into their 90s or beyond." The silence that followed felt heavy, uncomfortable. Then, to the human's surprise, all 4 Catherians produced what could only be described as laughter. Their silver bodies shook with mirth, deep sounds rumbling through the conference room. Zethvar regained his composure first. 80 years? Your entire species lives less than a century?" His voice carried an unmistakable note of condescension. Kevin felt heat rising to his face. "Yes, that's correct. Why do you find this amusing?" "Because, dear Captain," Zethvar gestured with one of his forearms, "I personally have served as ambassador for over 3,000 Earth years. My colleagues here range from 5,000 to 12,000 years old. We consider anything less than a millennium to be juvenile." Ryan's hands clenched into fists under the table. "How do you achieve such longevity?" "Our cellular structure regenerates continuously," one of the other Catherians explained. "We evolved on a world with different radiation levels which triggered genetic adaptations allowing for extended cellular renewal." Zethvar tapped the table with 2 fingers. "We find it charming that your species attempts to explore the universe with such brief lifespans. 70, 80 years barely allows time to master any field of study before death arrives." "We manage quite well with our time," Kevin replied, struggling to keep his voice even. Of course," Zethvar waved dismissively, "like mayflies." dancing on the surface of a pond. Brief, but determined in their brief moments of existence. The meeting continued for another hour, but the mood had shifted irreparably. The Catherians spoke with barely concealed amusement about humanity's achievements. They praised human determination while clearly viewing them as quaint novelties. As the aliens prepared to return to their vessels, Zethvar turned to Kevin one last time. "We shall notify our council of your arrival. Perhaps they will find value in studying how a short-lived species adapts to the challenges of existence." After the Catherians departed, the bridge crew gathered around the conference table. Morale was low, but anger simmered just below the surface. "Did you see how they talked to us?" Ryan slammed his fist on the table, like we were pets performing tricks. Frank removed his glasses and cleaned them methodically. "I recorded everything. We should study their biological claims. Perhaps their long lives explain their slow adaptation to new situations." Kevin stood at the viewport, watching the Catherian ships maintain position alongside the horizon. "We came seeking equals. Instead, we found beings who see us as children playing at starfaring." The ship's communication officer, Lisa Wong, spoke quietly. "Sir, I've been monitoring other frequencies. There's chatter on Catherian channels calling us the brief ones and fleeting sparks." "Let them talk." Kevin turned back to his crew. "We've accomplished more in our brief lives than they might expect. Send a full report to Earth Command. Include every detail of this meeting." As night cycle began aboard the horizon, the crew felt a mix of emotions: humiliation at being mocked for something beyond their control, frustration at the casual dismissal of their achievements, but also a growing determination to prove themselves worthy of respect. Kevin sat alone in his quarters recording his captain's log. Day 1 of first contact was memorable. The Catherians possess remarkable technology and vast experience. They also possess remarkable arrogance. They see our limited lifespan as a weakness, a cosmic joke. Perhaps they're right to laugh, but perhaps they underestimate what humans can achieve in our brief time among the stars. He paused the recording, staring at Earth's distant light visible through his viewport. End log entry. The USS Horizon maintained its position through the night, a small human vessel among giants who had forgotten what it meant to live urgently. In the days ahead, Earth Command would receive Kevin's report and begin asking questions. Questions that would lead to discoveries that would change everything the Catherians believed about the brief ones. For now, though, the crew of the Horizon slept fitfully, dreams filled with silver beings laughing at human mortality, unaware that their mockery would soon face challenge from the very brevity they scorned. 3 months after the USS Horizon's mission report arrived at Earth Command, Director Lisa Wong stood in a windowless room deep beneath the Pentagon. She reviewed the Catherian encounter logs for the 7th time that week. The aliens' mockery of human lifespan bothered her more with each reading. "The Secretary needs solutions, not complaints," she muttered to herself, scanning the detailed reports. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago as she worked through the night. Dr. Frank Carter pushed through the room's security door carrying a stack of files. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. "I found something," he said quietly. Lisa waved him to the conference table. "Show me." Frank spread out a series of faded documents and photographs from the 1970s Apollo missions. "Look at these moon samples collected during Apollo 17. NASA labeled them as anomalous at the time but couldn't explain why." "Go on." Lisa leaned forward. "The astronauts found crystalline structures in lunar caves at the Taurus-Littrow Valley. Here's the original report from Commander Gene Harrison." Frank pointed to handwritten notes in the margin of an official NASA document. Harrison reported strange energy readings, but the samples disappeared after preliminary testing. "Disappeared how?" Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Officially misplaced, but I tracked down the technician who tested them. Dr. Amy Walsh. She's still alive, running a private lab in Colorado." 2 days later, Lisa and Frank knocked on the door of a small research facility outside Denver. Dr. Amy Walsh answered promptly, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun. Despite being in her 70s, she moved with surprising energy. I wondered when someone would come asking about Harrison's samples, she said, leading them to her private office. From a locked cabinet, she produced a small titanium container. I kept one piece, called it my retirement insurance. Inside the container sat a dark crystal, no larger than a quarter. Purple light swirled within its core like captured aurora. "What is it?" Frank asked, adjusting his glasses. "I call it element 47, though it's not really an element. The test results were impossible. It seemed to respond to observation, changing its molecular structure based on who was studying it." Amy carefully removed the crystal. NASA buried the whole program because they couldn't explain it. Lisa touched her earpiece, connecting to the secure line back to headquarters. "I need a full team here immediately, and get me the president's science advisor." 3 weeks passed. The small crystal from Dr. Walsh's collection was now surrounded by the best scientific equipment Earth could provide. Teams worked around the clock in a sealed facility. "The results are incredible," Frank reported to Lisa in the main control room. Banks of monitors displayed complex molecular diagrams. Element 47 contains programmable matter at the quantum level. It can interface with biological systems. "Meaning what exactly?" Lisa demanded. "It could potentially alter cellular aging processes. The structure suggests purpose-built design, not natural formation." While scientists studied the moon rock, Dr. Karen Hudson worked independently at Gene Tech Industries in California. Her specialty was human genetic mapping. She had started her research after hearing about the Cytherean encounter, searching for clues about human biological potential. "Something's wrong with these gene sequences," she told her assistant, pointing at streams of DNA data on her computer screen. "Look at chromosome 7. There are segments that don't match any known human variation." Her assistant leaned closer. "Could it be contamination?" "No, I've triple-checked. These sequences appear in every sample we've tested. They're part of human DNA, but inactive, like they're waiting for something to trigger them." Karen ran simulations throughout the night. By morning, she had a theory. These hidden sequences could explain humanity's rapid brain development compared to other primates. They're like genetic switches, but we can't see what activates them. At the Pentagon, Lisa's encrypted phone rang. The caller ID showed Gene Tech Industries. "This is Dr. Karen Hudson. I need to speak with someone about hidden human genetic sequences. I believe they're connected to your element 47 research." 2 days later, Karen stood in the sealed facility, examining both the crystal and the genetic data side by side. "The frequencies match," she said slowly. "The quantum energy patterns in element 47 correspond to the dormant sequences in our DNA." Frank rushed over. "Are you saying humans were designed to interact with this material?" "More than interact," Karen pointed to the screens. "These sequences suggest our species was engineered with the potential to interface with advanced technology. Someone planned this into our genetic code millions of years ago." Lisa felt her pulse quicken. The implications are staggering. If someone designed humans to work with this technology, why? And why hide it in moon rocks? The research intensified. Teams worked to understand the connection between human genetics and element 47. In Washington, high-level meetings started, addressing the next step. Earth's government leaders called for a response to Cytherean mockery. "We can't reveal this discovery yet," Lisa argued in a classified meeting. "We need to fully understand it first." General Peter Morgan slammed his fist on the table. "The Cythereans are already limiting our access to basic trade routes. They see us as inferior because of our lifespan. This could change everything." "Exactly. Why we need caution," Lisa countered. "We don't know who designed this technology or for what purpose. Rushing could be dangerous." Meanwhile, reports from the USS Horizon indicated the Cythereans had begun excluding humanity from interstellar councils. Ambassador Zethvar had publicly stated that short-lived species lacked the perspective necessary for long-term diplomatic relationships. Back at the research facility, Dr. Walsh made a breakthrough. "I've isolated the activation sequence. Element 47. Responds to specific thought patterns. Intense concentration paired with deliberate intent seems to trigger its programming." Karen added, and our genetic sequences show potential for cellular regeneration far beyond current human capabilities. If activated, humans might live considerably longer than 80 years. The team's excitement was tempered by caution. Unknown. Origins, hidden purposes, and potential risks demanded careful consideration. But one fact emerged clearly. Humanity had been underestimated based on surface-level characteristics. The truth about human potential remained locked in ancient rock and hidden DNA. Lisa stood at the facility window, watching snow fall outside while inside, Earth's brightest minds unraveled mysteries older than human civilization. The Catherians had mocked humanity's brief existence. They might soon learn that brief lives could conceal ancient secrets. In the weeks that followed, evidence mounted. Element 47 appeared in trace amounts throughout Earth's crust. Ancient sites showed signs of intentional placement. The moon rocks were merely a concentrated source. Someone had prepared Earth and humanity for something specific. The question remains, Frank noted during a late-night session, are we the children of advanced aliens like the Catherians, or something else entirely? Karen looked up from her microscope. Based on the genetic markers, I'd say something else. Our DNA shows signs of manipulation, but also protection. Like someone was preparing humanity for a specific role while shielding us from outside interference. Lisa made decision. We need to inform the president that humanity's origins may be far more complex than we knew, and that our brief lifespan might be intentional, not a limitation. The mockery of the Catherians had sparked investigation. That investigation now threatened to upend humanity's understanding of its own origins and place in the universe. The brief ones carried secrets hidden in their very cells. Secrets that might explain why anyone would design a species to burn bright and brief among the stars. Ambassador Chen Wei arrived at Earth Command headquarters 6 months after humanity's first contact with the Catherians. His shuttle touched down under heavy security as a cold rain fell across Virginia. The reports he carried from the second Catherian summit would change everything. The situation is worse than our intelligence suggested, Chen reported to Director Lisa Wong in her office. He spread holographic documents across her desk. The Catherians are actively discouraging other species from trading with Earth. They've created what they call the Brief Life Protocol. Any species with a lifespan under 500 years is considered too primitive for serious diplomatic relations. Lisa's jaw tightened. Outside her window, she could see the top-secret facility where scientists continued studying Element 47. Have they made any concrete moves against Earth? Not directly. But they've lobbied successfully to have us excluded from the Galactic Trade Network. 3 other species have already cut off early communications with our deep space probes. Chen closed his eyes briefly. Ambassador Zethvar made a speech calling humanity's space program adorable but impractical, given our lifespans. That same day, 2,000 miles away in the secret research facility, Dr. Patricia Brooks made an error that would reshape human understanding forever. She was running another test on Element 47, trying to understand how thought patterns activated its quantum properties. Concentration levels at maximum, her assistant called out from behind the safety barrier. Quantum field is stable. Patricia focused intently on the small sample before her, following the protocols they'd developed. She imagined cellular renewal, picturing aging processes slowing and reversing. The crystal began to pulse with purple light. Then the containment field failed. Purple energy exploded outward. Patricia felt it wash through her body like warm water. She gasped and stumbled backward but felt no pain. Her heart raced, but diagnostics showed all systems normal. Dr. Brooks, her assistant rushed in. Are you okay? I think so. Patricia stood shakily. Run a full medical scan immediately. The scan results mystified the medical team. Patricia's brain showed unusual activity patterns. Her cellular structure appeared different at the quantum level, though she felt fine. They decided to monitor her closely over the following weeks. Meanwhile, in Virginia, Colonel Nathan Gray received a classified report that made him skip lunch. As head of Space Force Intelligence, his job was to find threats humanity might have missed. What he found instead was evidence of humanity's ancient connections. "Sir, look at these satellite images of archaeological sites." His analyst pointed to enhanced photographs on the large screen. "The Great Pyramid, Stonehenge, even the Nazca Lines. They all show trace amounts of element 47 when viewed with quantum scanners." Nathan leaned forward. "Someone placed this material at these sites intentionally?" "More than that." The analyst switched images. "The geometric alignments of these sites create a global pattern. They're like nodes in a network, all connected by underground mineral deposits containing small amounts of element 47. Back at the research facility, changes in Dr. Patricia Brooks became apparent. After 3 weeks, medical tests showed remarkable results. Her telomeres, which should have been shortening with age, were actually lengthening. Cellular aging had slowed by an estimated 60%. "This is extraordinary." Dr. Frank Carter examined her blood samples again. "Patricia, your cells are regenerating like you're 20 years younger. The element 47 exposure seems to have activated something in your DNA." Patricia looked at her hands, which seemed no different to her eyes. "I feel normal. Maybe a bit more energetic, but I attributed that to the excitement of discovery." "Your genetic markers match the dormant sequences we've been studying," Karen Hudson added. "Exposure to element 47 didn't just affect you temporarily. It appears to have permanently activated your body's hidden regenerative capabilities." News of the discovery spread quickly through the secret facility. Scientists began connecting dots across multiple research areas. The breakthrough came when they combined Patricia's medical data with Nathan's archaeological findings. "Look at this," Lisa called everyone to the main conference room. She displayed a world map showing element 47 deposits. The ancient sites form a pattern. They're strategically placed to ensure that humans living anywhere on Earth would eventually encounter trace amounts of this material, Frank added. "And the genetic sequences suggest our ancestors were exposed to it repeatedly. Small doses over thousands of years, preparing humanity for something." "But why the moon?" someone asked. "Preservation," Karen suggested. Larger deposits needed protection from Earth's geological activity. The moon's stable surface would keep them safe until we developed space travel. In Washington, President Michelle Garcia reviewed the compiled reports. The implications hit her like a physical force. Earth's major archaeological wonders weren't just impressive constructions. They were markers, beacons, perhaps even preparation stations left by unknown benefactors. "We need answers," she declared in an emergency cabinet meeting. "If someone prepared humanity for something, what was it? And how does this relate to our current situation with the Catherians?" Colonel Gray presented his findings to the assembly. "Ancient texts from multiple cultures speak of star builders or sky architects. We dismiss these as mythology. Now I believe they refer to whoever designed this system." Meanwhile, aboard ships in deep space, Captain Kevin Blake received concerning reports. Catherian vessels were now actively preventing human ships from reaching certain systems. The alien empire's actions seemed designed to contain Earth's sphere of influence. "They're treating us like a quarantine zone," Ryan Miller observed as they reviewed the latest reports. "Ships can enter our system, but they're discouraging anyone from leaving Earth's immediate space." Back on Earth, Patricia Brooks volunteered for more tests with element 47. Each exposure further enhanced her cellular regeneration. Scientists estimated her biological aging might be reduced to 1/10 its normal rate. A human lifetime could potentially stretch to 800 years or more. "This changes everything," Lisa Wong told the president's science team. "The Catherians mock our brief lives, but they don't know we carry the potential for enhancement. Our DNA was designed to interface with technology that extends life far beyond its natural span." The research continued intensively. More volunteers accepted element 47 exposure after Patricia's successful results. Each person experienced similar cellular improvements. Scientists mapped the activation patterns, learning to control and refine the process. In the depths of the facility, ancient artifacts brought from various sites underwent new analysis. Each piece contained microscopic channels and patterns consistent with controlled element 47 dispersal. Humanity's mysterious benefactors had created a sophisticated system for gradual human enhancement. The beauty of the design, Karen mused, is that it required human achievement to unlock. We needed to develop space travel, quantum physics, and genetic science to even discover the gift waiting for us. As months passed, evidence mounted that humanity's brief lifespan wasn't a cosmic joke as the Catherians believed. It was a feature, not a flaw, of a careful design. The challenge was urgent, but also it seemed planned for. Someone long ago had prepared humanity to face exactly this kind of cosmic challenge. Then, Lieutenant Ryan Miller made a discovery that would connect all the pieces. While analyzing quantum signatures from element 47, he noticed patterns matching energy readings detected by deep space probes near Catherian territory. The same quantum signature appeared in both locations. "Sir," he reported to his captain, "the technology that created element 47 didn't just affect Earth. It's present throughout this sector of the galaxy." This meant the unknown designers hadn't just prepared humanity. They had influenced the development of multiple species across the stars. The implications were staggering. Humanity's brief lives and hidden potential weren't random. They were part of a larger plan, one that might have created the Catherians themselves. As Earth's leadership grappled with these revelations, one fact became clear. The mockery from Tau Ceti had triggered a chain of discoveries that threatened to upend galactic civilization's understanding of itself. The brief ones might just be the key to unlocking secrets billions of years old. 8 months after her first exposure to element 47, Dr. Patricia Brooks looked exactly as she had the day of the accident. Her colleagues, however, showed their usual signs of aging. Medical scans confirmed she was aging only 1 month for every year that passed. "This changes the entire narrative about human lifespan," she wrote in her daily log. The Catherians mocked what they didn't understand. Meanwhile, deep space probes searching for more element 47 detected strong signatures near the moon's dark side. Commander Stephen Parker prepared Earth's newest spacecraft, the USS Pathfinder, for an urgent mission. "The location is highly unusual," Navigation Officer Carol Peters noted during mission planning. "Our best lunar maps show nothing but deep craters in that sector." Stephen studied the probe data carefully. "Sometimes the best hiding places are in plain sight. We've been looking at the moon for decades but never closely examined that specific region." 3 days later, the Pathfinder entered lunar orbit. Enhanced scanners painted a startling picture of the far side. Beneath centuries of dust and debris, geometric patterns appeared. Perfectly straight lines crossed ancient craters. "Captain, I'm detecting artificial structures," Science Officer Alex Martinez announced. "They're massive. How did we miss this?" "Probably because they're designed to remain hidden unless someone knows what to look for," Stephen replied. "Prepare a landing crew. We're going down." The landing revealed a sight beyond human imagination. Carved into the lunar rock was an entrance, nearly 50 meters wide. Ancient symbols similar to those found at Earth's archaeological sites decorated the archway. As the team approached, the entrance began to glow with purple energy. "Element 47 concentration is off the charts," Alex reported, his scanner beeping frantically. "This entire structure is built around it." Inside, the facility defied easy description. Vast halls stretched beyond sight. Holographic displays flickered to life as humans entered, responding to their presence. Alien writing covered walls and floors, but alongside it, simplified diagrams appeared that humans could understand. "Look at this," Lieutenant Maria Torres called from a central chamber. She stood before a large cylindrical device. As she approached, it projected a 3-dimensional image into the air. The image showed 2 distinct humanoid figures. One tall and silver, like the Catherians, the other smaller, like humans. "These figures appear repeatedly throughout the facility," Stephen noted as they explored, "always together, often with a much larger figure overseeing them." Their breakthrough came in what appeared to be a records room. Ancient data crystals, similar to element 47 but clear instead of purple, activated when touched. Holographic records played out humanity's hidden history. The tall figure in the recordings called themselves the Architects, They had created both Catherians and humans, but for different purposes. The holographic story unfolded like a textbook designed for children. The architects feared their primary creation's limitations. Stephen translated from the simplified displays. The Catherians' long lives led to slow adaptation and reluctance to change. They needed a counterpoint. Maria leaned forward as the display showed Earth's creation. Humanity was designed as a contingency plan. Our brief lives were intentional, meant to drive rapid innovation and adaptability. The display shows humans were designed to react to element 47, Alex added, pointing at detailed biological diagrams. Our DNA contains built-in responses to this technology. We can choose extended life when ready, but our default is brief, intense existence. The facility's main database revealed the architects' complete plan. They had created humanity to counterbalance Catherian stagnation. Where Catherians achieved stability through longevity, humans would achieve progress through urgency. Eventually, both species were meant to learn from each other's strengths. The architects disappeared before they could complete their plan. Stephen read from the records. Something happened to them. Perhaps they simply ascended beyond physical existence. Back on Earth, Director Lisa Wong received the transmission from the Moon facility. The Discovery team was already returning with captured holographic records and detailed scans. Earth's governments prepared for what would become the most important announcement in human history. The President wants a complete briefing before we decide how to handle this information, Lisa told her team. The implications reach beyond simple Catherian relations. Dr. Karen Hudson worked tirelessly to decode the biological data from the facility. The genius of the design is remarkable, she explained to fellow scientists. Humans can activate the enhancement, but it's not automatic. We must choose when to extend our lives. This preserves the benefit of our urgency while allowing longevity when wisdom requires it. In classified government meetings, debate raged about revelation timing. Some argued for immediate disclosure to the Catherians. Others counseled patience, suggesting more research was needed. The Catherians' entire society is built around their long lifespans, General Morgan argued. Learning they were engineered as a cautionary tale might destabilize them. Lisa disagreed. They started this with their mockery. They've created diplomatic barriers based on lifespan discrimination. We have the truth now. We should use it. Meanwhile, Commander Parker's team made another discovery. Deep within the facility's archives, they found references to ancient texts existing in Catherian culture. These texts spoke of mythological brief ones who would one day challenge the eternal ones. The Catherians likely dismissed these as primitive superstitions, Parker noted in his report. But they're actually historical records from the architects. In the laboratories worldwide, more volunteers underwent element 47 treatment. The process became refined, allowing doctors to control the extent of life extension. People could choose modest enhancements or aim for millennium-long lifespans comparable to Catherians. Patricia Brooks became the face of the program. At conferences, she spoke about balancing the wisdom gained through experience with the innovation driven by urgency. We're learning that extended life doesn't automatically mean slower thinking, she explained. Human consciousness adapts. We can maintain urgency, even with centuries ahead of us. The enhanced humans began showing remarkable abilities beyond mere longevity. Their mental processing accelerated. Pattern recognition improved dramatically. Several volunteers displayed ability to interface directly with element 47 technology, without external devices. We're not just living longer, Karen reported to the President's advisors. We're evolving into something close to what the architects originally intended. The full human potential was always there, locked in our DNA. As months passed, Earth's decision-makers reached consensus. The truth would be shared with the Catherians. Ambassador Chen Wei volunteered to deliver the revelation personally, aboard a new diplomatic vessel, the USS Victory. We have a duty to correct their misunderstanding, President Garcia stated in her final orders. The architects made us partners, not rivals. It's time the Catherians learned this truth. The USS Victory prepared for departure. Aboard were holographic records from the moon facility, medical data from Element 47 volunteers, and enough evidence to challenge everything the Catherians believed about species development. As the ship prepared to enter faster-than-light travel, Stephen Parker reflected on their discoveries. The architects left us tools and knowledge, but they left the choice to us. We could have remained brief candles, never discovering our potential. Instead, humanity's curiosity led us to the moon, to space, to this moment. In the depths of the lunar facility, ancient machinery hummed quietly, its purpose fulfilled after eons of waiting. Humanity had taken the first steps toward its true potential. The architect's plan, though incomplete, proceeded toward a future none could fully predict. The mockery that began this journey would soon transform into something else entirely. Respect, perhaps, understanding, certainly, and possibly the beginning of the partnership the architects had always intended between their two greatest creations. The USS Victory approached Catherian space 3 months after the lunar facility's discovery. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, watching stars shift as they dropped from faster-than-light travel. Unlike the first meeting, this time humanity came prepared with truth. "Open a channel to the Catherian Council," Laura ordered. Her crew was specially selected for this mission. Ambassador Chen Wei had spent weeks rehearsing the presentation that would change everything. The main view screen, filled with Ambassador Zethvar's familiar silver face. Behind him, other Catherian leaders gathered in their massive council chamber. "So the brief ones return." Zethvar spoke with the same condescending tone as before. "Have you come to appeal our restrictions on your kind?" Chen stepped forward. "We've come to share information about our common origins, information that will change your understanding of our species, and your own." Zethvar's forearms twitched with barely concealed amusement. "Enlighten us, Ambassador." "We need to do this in person," Chen replied firmly. "What we've discovered on our moon changes everything the architects intended." The word architects caused ripples of movement in the council chamber. Several Catherian leaders leaned forward suddenly. The legendary beings mentioned in their ancient texts were usually dismissed as myths. "The architects are fairy tales," a council member scoffed. "Stories to entertain children." Chen smiled. "Then you won't mind reviewing holographic evidence we brought from their real facility on Earth's moon." 20 minutes later, in the Catherian Council Hall, projectors displayed images from the lunar facility. The Catherian leaders watched in growing silence as the truth of their engineered origins unfolded. The holographic architect explained in simple terms how they created the Catherians first. Long-lived beings meant to bring stability to the universe. Then the projection showed humanity's creation. Shorter lifespans were intentional, Chen translated as the display continued. Humans were designed to maintain urgency and drive innovation. You were meant to complement each other, not compete. A female council member named Aereth stood abruptly. "This is fabrication. Your species has created false evidence to the hologram." Interrupted her objection by displaying ancient Catherian writing, sacred texts that only the highest council members could access. The architects' recordings showed exact matches to their hidden religious documents. "Your own ancient texts speak of the brief ones who challenge eternity," Chen pointed out. "You dismiss these passages as metaphor. They were actually historical record." The council chamber fell completely silent. For beings who had mocked humanity's short lives, the revelation hit with tremendous force. They hadn't been created as superior beings. They had been created as one half of a balanced system. "Your evidence suggests," Zethvar began, then paused, his silver skin showing color changes that humans had learned indicated deep emotion. "We have misunderstood our purpose entirely." Chen moved to the next projection showing Element 47's effects. "Humans can extend our lives when necessary. The architects gave us choice. Brief lives drive us forward. Extended lives let us maintain continuity when needed. We contain both capabilities." Dr. Patricia Brooks appeared on screen via live feed from Earth. Nearly a year into her extended life, she looked exactly as she had before the accident. I choose to age slowly now because my research requires continuity, she explained to the council. But I started with urgency. The design is elegant. We can adapt our lifespan to our current needs. The Catherian leaders shifted uncomfortably. Their entire society was built around the assumption that long life meant superiority. Now, they learned they were simply one side of a designed balance. What do you propose? An elder council member asked quietly. Cooperation, Chen answered simply. Exchange of knowledge, joint exploration. The architects intended us to learn from each other, not mock each other. In the weeks that followed, dramatic changes swept through Catherian society. Their sacred texts were re-examined. Passages long considered mythology gained new meaning. Young Catherians began questioning their empire's stagnant policies. Captain Kevin Blake, now commanding the USS Horizon on deep space patrol, received news of successful diplomatic talks. The Catherian Empire had reversed its policies restricting Earth's access to galactic trade networks. The Catherians are requesting joint science teams, his communications officer reported with evident surprise. They want to study our adaptability. Back, on Earth, the first Catherian scientists arrived at the secret facility. They worked alongside human researchers, learning about Element 47 and human genetics. The cultural exchange proved illuminating for both species. Dr. Frank Carter collaborated with Catherian biologist Velran on cellular regeneration studies. Your extended lives gave you tremendous knowledge, Frank observed. But your reluctance to try radical new approaches held back certain developments. Velran's forearms moved in what humans recognized as embarrassment. We spent 3,000 years refining warp drive before considering antimatter. Your species proposed antimatter, engines within decades of discovering faster than light travel. In the months ahead, joint human-Catherian expeditions explored ancient architect sites throughout the galaxy. Each discovery reinforced the truth. The architects had created multiple species with complementary traits, all meant to work together. Captain Laura Bennett commanded humanity's first joint exploration vessel, the USCK Navigator. Half her crew was human, half Catherian. They searched for other engineered species following quantum signatures from Element 47 deposits. Every civilization that matures must face this choice, Catherian philosopher Cathvar explained during one of their long conversations. Accept our role in a greater design or reject it based on pride. The transformation wasn't complete overnight. Some Catherians still looked down on humanity's rush. Some humans continued to resent the earlier mockery, but cooperation gradually replaced conflict. Dr. Karen Hudson published groundbreaking work on selective longevity. Humans could now choose their aging rates precisely. Some maintained standard lifespans, driving innovation through urgency. Others extended their lives for critical long-term projects. Earth developed a hybrid approach combining both advantages. A year after first contact, Ambassador Zethvar requested a private meeting with Kevin Blake aboard the Horizon. The Catherian stood in the human-sized conference room, his silver form slightly cramped, but his bearing respectful. Captain Blake, I owe your species an apology, Zethvar began without preamble. We mocked what we should have respected. Your brief lives contain more innovation than our long existence. Kevin nodded slowly. We've all learned from this. The architects designed us as partners, not superiors or inferiors. Indeed, Zethvar touched his chest with one hand. My civilization spent 50,000 years believing our lifespan proved our superiority. We were wrong. We were simply different parts of the same design. At the lunar facility, now a joint research station, scientists from both species worked tirelessly to understand more about the architects. They discovered evidence of other, engineered species throughout the galaxy, each with unique advantages. The Delthanian species aged backward, living young before dying old. The morphs could shift between fast and slow time perception. Each design served a purpose in the architect's grand experiment. We're discovering that diversity was their goal, Patricia Brooks noted during one conference. They didn't want a galaxy of identical beings. They wanted complementary strengths. As humanity entered its second year of open contact with the Catherian Empire, the laughter had indeed changed, as Kevin Blake had hoped. In joint conference rooms, during shared meals, aboard mixed-species vessels, humans and Catherians laughed together, not at each other. The brief ones had revealed a greater truth to the eternal ones, and in that revelation, both species found purpose beyond their original understanding. The mockery that began their relationship had transformed into mutual respect, and perhaps, as the architects had intended all along, partnership. Captain. Blake's final log entry for the mission read, "First contact began with misunderstanding born from pride. It evolved through discovery to respect born from truth. The architects left us a gift not just of technology, but of perspective. They showed us that strength comes in many forms, and that brief lives and eternal ones both serve purpose in the grand tapestry of existence. In the vast quiet of space, two engineered species continued their journey together, no longer divided by misunderstood differences, but united by the revelation that their diversity was, and had always been, purposeful.